Hello, good evening, as viewers. This is satellite media. Let us look at the current travail of Mr. President. I'm talking about Senator Amebola Tinubu, who perhaps have fallen apart with northern political big weights. Because from what we are seeing, it is very clear that the political harmony, the political marriage between the political dynasty of Tinubu himself in Lagos State and the northern part of the country is gradually breaking down. We saw it play out in the last hashtag and bad governance protest, where in spite of all the effort of the government to dissuade the people from coming out on the street to protest what is seen as bad governance in Nigeria failed. Of course, we saw the government approaching all the major socio-political organizations in Nigeria, all the religious organizations in Nigeria, because obviously a group like Arewa Consultative Forum came out clearly to say people should not protest. We equally saw a fashion of it, coming out to say Nigerians should not protest. And apart from that, we equally saw Ohanes Ndibo, though their reason may not be the same thing with what Afenifere and the Arewa Consultative Forum adduced. But generally speaking, they all came out to say people should not protest. And beyond that, we saw even Khan coming out to ask people not to protest. We saw some emirs in the north, even the Oba Bini, coming out to say people should not protest. So it goes a long way to show that actually the government at the center reach out to these bodies to see whether they could micromanage these Nigerian youths or rather stop them from protesting. And at the end of the day, Nigerians came out in their number, particularly in the north, to say, yes, Mr. President, you are not getting it right. So it's going to show that the popularity that Mr. President, Senator Amebola Tinubu hitherto before now enjoy or rather parades in the north is gradually winding down. And before then, we saw the lives of the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, who of course was a former minister of FCT, who played a pivotal role in the emergence of Tinubu in the APC primary and eventual early won election during the presidential general election. We saw him coming out clearly to make some clandestine move, meeting with some opposition party members in what looks like an attempt of realignment ahead of 2027 presidential election. But surprisingly, we saw another subterranean move where his current governor, of course, who he helped and sponsored to become the governor to succeed him, started making some move to probe his administration. I think that somehow slowed down his action in trying to galvanize or rather form alliance with oppositions to see whether they could oust the current president, Senator Amebola Tinubu, out of power. And we have equally seen the likes of the senator from Borno State, I'm talking about Alun Dume, who have come out clearly to say that the North are not likely going to support the current government in the coming election. We have equally seen the Arewa Consultative Forum coming out clearly to say that they honestly made a mistake in 2023 presidential election, a mistake they say they don't hope to repeat in 2027. So it goes to show clearly that if the president did not urgently address the concern of the North, the president have obviously lost so much ground in the North. We saw it clearly in the manner and attitudes of protesters in the North, to the extent that some people already started flying Russian flag. Some youths equally calling on Russia government to come and intervene in Nigerian situation in what looked like a military, calling for military takeover, because it is believed in some quarters that Russia played a pivotal role through Wagner in the military intervention in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. So when we saw some Nigerians flying Russian flag during that protest, I think it was sending a signal to international community and even to Russia itself that their intervention is necessary to solve the Nigerian situation. And that has set Nigerian government in panic mode ever since then, because we have seen the government, according to the police, arresting a good number of Russia flying protesters. And as at the last count, we understand that they have been flown to Abuja for more interrogation before proper prosecution will commence. But what is currently the major issue is we are looking at the political implication of all this to the current seat of power, to the current president at the Asu Rock. Because we understand that the president has severally been accused of trying to Eurobanize his government by the way of his appointment, by the way he tried to monopolize the economy, appointing his Lagos boys to major strategic positions. And if you look at the way he election result that bring into office, you agree with me that he couldn't have been there if not for the northern vote. That is why the North will be justified anytime, any day, if they start questioning the rationale behind not getting up to what they deserve in terms of helping him to get a position. And I think the president at this point may be looking towards forming alliance with other regions if perhaps the North is actually turning their back on him. That may perhaps explain the reason Mr. President recently signed into law and talking about the Southeast Development Commission. Perhaps he wants to start forming a new alliance with other regions because, as it stands, the fear of 2027 for those in Asu Rock should be the beginning of wisdom, because their support base have been threatened, and you can clearly see that manifested in anger of protesters from the north, from Sokoto to Kaduna to Zamfara to Borno to Kano. Of course, what is surprising is that most of the places where you saw protests gain ground in the north are even APC controlled states. So it goes to show that the party obviously have lost ground seriously in the northern part of the country. And the only way they can redeem those grounds, or rather regain those grounds, is to ensure that they bring back confidence of the people. And the only way they can bring back the confidence of the people is to ensure that they solve the issue of hunger. And for me, I don't think this government is ready and willing or even have the capacity to solve the issue of hunger. Because as we speak, the government need to step up action when it comes to protection of lives and property. Let me quickly say that protection of life and property is a mandate, is a provisional constitution that the president have as a mandate to give to the people. And when the president is protecting lives and property, he is not doing anybody any favor, because it's a right of Nigerians, it's the right of Nigerians, and it's incumbent on the president to protect lives and property. I think personally, I cannot overemphasize this. I've been saying it, that I had conversation with someone from Benue who told me that he buy rice, beans, garri, name it, from Lagos and sent to Benue because herdsmen have taken over his community and his family is in IDP camp. So what we are saying is, if the president or the government must solve the issue of food insecurity, food shortage, they must address insecurity, because insecurity, the food shortage is tied to insecurity. Almost all the farming communities in the country have been taken over by rampaging herdsmen. And this is not just happening in the north. I can categorically tell you that in some part of Delta State, specifically in Kano East, the local government of the former immediate past governor of Delta State, I'm talking about Senator Ato Ifeanyi Okowa, has been taken over by Fulani herdsmen, majorly their farming areas. So if what we hit out here from the north is already happening in the southern part of the country, I think we are in for trouble. So the only way the president can redeem his image and stand a good chance to continue to parade that popularity he had in the north prior to the election and maintain it into the 2027 election is to address insecurity. It doesn't matter who's us is God. I think it behoves of Mr. President to address insecurity if we must see an end to food shortage in Nigeria. I must say very thank you for your time. This is Satellite Media, and I'm Mr. Martin. Thank you very much for